Elgar's Violin Concerto is one of his most personal expressions, one of his deepest confessions, and one of his most beautiful conceptions. The work was written with the idea of his friend Alice Stewart Wortley. He referred to her as Windflower, and the Windflower theme of the first movement was penned to her when he discovered it or created it. And it's one of the most simple and plaintive, and it's just so airy and light. You almost get a sense of the beauty of this woman, not just a surface beauty, but a true truly noble, there's a good Elgar word for us to carry on with, truly elegantly noble woman that understood him and his creative muse so well. Now, Elgar is known as a composer of royal music to the king, and there's this element of nobility in his music. In fact, that's his greatest and most used term, nobile or nobilmente, both in Italian for meaning noble or with nobility. And there is this strain in his music which is very conservative and very English due to the fact that it plays upon this royalty sound. But Elgar was an extremely complex person because there's this equally weak side of Elgar. It's a very feminine side. It's a very pastel-like coloration of the orchestra, and it's a very deliberately weak sort of emotional state that all of his music finds itself in the slow movement of his symphonies, in his smaller pieces. It's always this unmasculinized voice, which I find particularly endearing because it is a man with the royal British side, with this staunch, stiff upper lip conservative quality, yet it can just break down into tears and just go into the greatest expression of sentimentality and of feeling for, in this case, it's obvious it was this woman. The arguably most interesting aspect of the work musically, although it's all interesting, it's all beautiful, it's a violin concerto that's up there with all the other 7 or 8 great violin concertos, is in the last movement where the music actually stops and the violin is like a recitative. Well, what is a recitative in opera or in this work? It's a soliloquy, or it's a confession, or it's some kind of self-argument. And Elgar seems to play with these themes and with his own psychology of the moment in writing this work. It's a grand, grand work, but it doesn't really knock you over the head with its grandness and its elegance and its royalty. It's all very understated and very simple and very windflower-ish, if you can picture what that would sound like in sound. And his pet name for this woman is certainly embodied in this wonderful work.